This is Jazz Profile Television, and I have with me James Carter, the multi-readers. And it's a pleasure to have you here, James, really.
It's such a pleasure to be here as well, bro. Definitely.
Yeah, you know. You play all the saxes. Mm-hmm. That's unusual. Usually guys will just play alto, tenor, or soprano.
Well, I like to say that the woodwinds are my home. You know, it's not only just saxes, flutes, clarinets, double reeds, and it's just a whole big family. You know, reunion. You know, every time try and play, and each instrument informs one another. I mean, and just increases the versatility and the possibility of finding new tones and timbres to exploit and to bring to the masses.
Mm-hmm. And you have been voted, I think, 2 consecutive years in a row, or maybe 3, baritone saxophonist.
I think it's an arbitrary thing where, you know, folks, but I have been quite fortunate over the past decade, not only with Downbeat, but also with jazz journalists. This year, Smullian won it, but hey, you gotta share the wealth and all that good stuff, and it's, you know, it's, but the main thing is that it boils down to that there's a recognition factor, you know, and it certainly should answer the question as to whether jazz or the instrument that, you know, is being represented is dead, and that's an emphatic no. You know, I basically feel that the need for recognition, you know, doesn't really supersede the fact that you need to basically be yourself with your instrument. You know, that's first and foremost, you know, and as a result of you being honest with yourself and being honest with your instrument, I feel that those accolades, you know, certainly will follow in due time, and you know, that's it.
Now, in addition to music, well, in addition to music here, you said you were doing something with
coming up in Detroit, I'm doing a thing called the Concert of Colors, and it's in cooperation with Blue Note Records, and it's also a fundraiser for Focus Hope, which is a program that's been in Detroit for decades now, that helps with job placement assistance and, you know, things that, you know, for disenfranchised peoples and whatnot. It's a very noble institution, you know. So I'm glad to be able to help out and lend my services to such a noble cause.
You've come to Montreal, which I really like, with a whole different setup every time you come with something different. That's beautiful. And you came as an organ trio this time, you know, bringing back that B3 flavor, you know, which is it's probably not an underrated instrument, but it doesn't get the play it should, because it played a really important part in jazz, development of jazz. And I'm glad to see that you're doing that, you know.
Well, the organ overall has played a very important part in our culture per se. I mean, it's one of the, I mean, it's one of the top 5 instruments I feel in my personal list that help exemplifies the black experience. I mean, not only from a sacred and secular, you know, church standpoint. You think about the old cookout music, the 60s lounges, tenor organ combos in the 50s and 60s, the soul from the 70s, you know, and, the neo soul and the, you know, all that. It's a sound that's irreplaceable, you know, and analog, of course, is the best way to go about it. We've heard some digital organs and all, and they try and help out as much as possible, but, you know, it's nothing like that analog. It's nothing like them two.
Totally agree with you.
Dr. Lonnie Smith is really the epitome of what the jazz organ can be. Jazz organist can be somebody who's seriously dynamic. I mean, with all the power, you know, just like with Spider-Man, with all power comes great responsibility. And he takes that responsibility and he not only informs you what the core aspect of that instrument is, but he also gives you the subtleties.
Yeah, the subtleties.
And
He
gets like,
so beautiful, man.
yeah, and he gets like down low, and and they forces you to listen. And that's that old school situation where you're playing soft enough, but the potency of what you're playing demands something inside of you to pay attention, where you don't have to be banging all the time, and somebody's like, what's he doing there? Shh, good girl, you keep going, And he gets those Count Basie subtleties and stuff like that too, and he has slow burning themes, and like that one tune they always does.
Yeah, he did that too.
Yeah, man, it
was beautiful. Man.
And
what do you have on the agenda next in terms of musical projects?
That's a very open book as of right now, and pretty much trying to look into which way is a viable way to go next. I've been contemplating on revitalizing the Gypsy group, and but more importantly, as of lately, this year 2012 marks the centennial of one of our unsung tenor heroes, Don Byas. And October the 21st, to be exact, would have been his 100th birthday. Back in 2006, my very first time at the, which was probably the first year at the North Sea Festival, when it was moved to Rotterdam. We did an evening, Living My Life, and it was the music of Don Byas. So it was a total evening of his music, where I took the Live at Town Hall situation that he did in '45 with him and Slam Stewart, and there was just the two of them on stage, and we started from there and expanded all the way into my group and a big band with vocalist Faye Clausen at the time. So it went from 2 people to a quartet, quintet, sextet. And then after the break was over, we went into a big band, then added the vocalists on, and and we just went from there, And and it showed the breadth of Byas's music, the potential that it has, and how it's still relevant this cat is, For those that do know my discography, I've always managed to slip in either one record or another. There's a Byas tune here and there, and I just feel that Byas is one of the cat sets. He's one of the most, Because if it wasn't for him, it certainly wouldn't have been a Train, because he was that vital link between Hawkins and Train, because you're looking at he still swung, but at the same time his harmonic inventions were presaging bebop.
Yeah.
So
exactly what you're talking about.
just like with Roy,
and
Jabbo Smith with that link between Louis Armstrong and Dizzy Gillespie. There's that. There's always that transitional cat that never gets set down.
There's always that one. That one that.
Byas certainly was it on a whole lot of levels, not only from a harmonic standpoint, but you're also looking at somebody that took the operatic central part of the tenor saxophone of that Hawkins style and transmogrified it and made the Hawkins gene his own.
It's a pleasure listening to you play. I'm fascinated, man, because you are really a master. You are, I mean, one of the youngest masters that I've of all of the horn. And it's just beautiful to watch you play.
I really appreciate it, man. I'm just going to try and keep holding it up as much as possible.
You're doing a wonderful, outstanding job.